My name is Danny Ortega, and I work for the Ortega Law Firm. I've been a lawyer in this town for over 40 years. I practice primarily in the area of personal injury. You know, you've heard the commercials over TV by the lawyers who tell you that they do auto accident work. Well, I do a lot of work involving auto accidents, as well as medical malpractice. If you feel that a doctor, a hospital, or a medical provider has somehow not given you the proper medical treatment and that has injured you, or if you lost a loved one as a result of a malpractice, we do that work too. We also do cases like dog bites, slip and falls, things of that nature where you've been injured because of the negligence of another. That is the kind of work that we do.
Hi, this is Irma from Arizona Barrio's Story. We're welcoming you today for this new segment. We have a special guest, and remember, your story is important too. This is Ray Martinez. Hi Ray, how you doing?
Good, Irma, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Could you tell me a little bit about yourself? Where are you from?
Sure. I was born in Reyes County, Texas, in Pecos. Came here as a little kid, and me and our familia moved around a lot, and went to different grade schools there a little bit, and eventually ended up in the Marcos Denisa Public Housing Projects, where I ended up growing up there. And
what memories do you have of the Marcos?
You know, the memories I have were it was fun. I didn't realize that we were poor or that anything like that. There were a lot of activities in the Marcos. We had our youth center in the Marcos, and we had you know, Paul Warner football. You know, they used to bring a bus, a city, and they would take us to go see the Phoenix Suns, you know, back when Connie Hawkins and Dick Van Arsdale and all these players played in those days. You know, it was fun.
And after Lowell, where did you end up going to high school?
After I graduated from Lowell, I ended up, me and Eddie Lovett and Johnny Sines and some others, we ended up deciding to go to North High School. So we would get up early and catch the bus and get 2 transfers and get to North High, and kind of the same routine back at the end of the day.
What do you remember about high school, and what do you remember about the weekends?
What I remember about high school more was, since I played sports, is maybe going and eating pizza, you know, after a game, but always having to eventually find my way back to the Marcos.
Tell me about your first job. We had talked about Neighborhood Youth Corps.
Yes. When I graduated from the 8th grade, like a bunch of us kids, we needed a job. And so my first job was working at Lowell School. It was called the Breakfast Program. And our supervisor was Mr. Tommy Nunez, who later on became an NBA ref and retired from the NBA. Tommy supervised all of us kids, and we worked for him in the kitchen.
And what did you do with those big paychecks?
You know, the extra money allowed us kids, and I can speak for most of us, because we wanted clothes to go to school, and so that summer job allowed me to be able to get some school clothes.
And where was your shopping at?
Well, I remember Penny's downtown, and I also remember the Clothing City. And I also remember the secondhand store, because my mom sometimes, that's what she could afford to take us to. Yeah.
What are some type of obstacles that you had to overcome on your journey?
I think that the biggest obstacle for me growing up was trying to find myself, because I didn't have my father in my life. And for a lot of kids that, grow up, without a parent, it could be a girl or boy, sometimes it sets you back. It creates a void. And sometimes that's tough to get through, but that's probably the biggest obstacle for me in trying to determine, we all want to know our identity, so that we can proceed.
Could you tell me a little bit about your brother?
Yes, my brother, during the time that we lived in the Marcos, Mando had already left. He went to Vietnam in '67 and came back, and he kept re-enlisting, and he was making it a career in the United States Army. And an unfortunate accident happened my sophomore year, February 18, 1975. My brother was killed in a auto accident in Germany on the Autobahn. And he was everything to us. He was my inspiration. He filled the void of my dad. He was always checking on us, making sure we're going to school, and he would always communicate with my mother. But his life insurance helped give us an opportunity, because we ended up that summer in 1975 moving out of the Marcos and moving to Maryville. And so my last 2 years in high school at North, I commuted from Maryville to finish high school. So for me, my brother, was one of those people in your life that because of what he did, it created opportunity for some of us young kids in the family.
As an adult, when you look back, what advice would you give to a 13-year-old Ray Martinez?
What I would give, to a 13-year-old boy, now keep in mind where I could, identify with that kid because of maybe what he's going through, that where maybe it was some of the same issues that I encountered. I would tell a kid or a girl like that maybe didn't have one of their parents that, never give up, always have faith, because that's what I had to do to keep going. But there were individuals that filled that void for me, along the way.
That would lead me to my next question. Who are some people that motivated you or inspired you to keep going?
Well, I met, Earl Wilcox when I was 13. I met, Mr. Rojas, who coached Earl and coached a lot of us kids in the projects. He was my coach and my math teacher. Mr. Roy Sosa, another teacher. Mr. Earl, the shop teacher. They were disciplinarians, so they kept us in check, and there was things sometimes that we didn't have a choice. We needed to do our schoolwork, and they were there to make sure that we were well behaved.
And they gave you boundaries.
Yes, absolutely.
Tell me about a letter that you wrote that reappeared in your life.
In the 8th grade, I remember Mr. Rojas and Mr. Sosa. They wanted us to apply for scholarships, and I remember me and Virginia Ruby, we received a $50 scholarship to go to high school, and over the years, I would keep looking at I knew that I had a certificate, that had somebody's name on it. And years later, as I'm continuing, I'm in, at Phoenix College Mecha, and I'm involved, in a lot of, community activities, if you will. And as I grew up, one day I'm at Oaxaca's, and by then I knew, Danny Ortega, and I just brought it up to him. I said, Danny, you gave me a scholarship in the 8th grade. And I explained to him, and he says, "Oh, you're one of those kids that we gave that scholarship to that year." And I said, "Yes." And so he asked me a question. He said, "Do you still have the letter when you express yourself about why you deserve the scholarship?" And I didn't have that letter. I don't know what happened to it. So the next question he asked me was, "Do you want a copy of it?" And my eyes got big. And I remember him calling Chris Marin in front of me. And
who is she?
Chris Marin, of course, from ASU, retired now. You know, she's the Chicano Studies collection, if you will, and so everybody knew, you know, Miss Marin, and so even I had heard about her and stuff, and when Danny called her, I was just like, I was in a daze. I was like, wow, you know, and but I remember she asked him a question, if I had ever graduated from college, you know, from a 4-year. And I hadn't then. And that always stuck with me. And so in 2000, I went back to school and got my bachelor's and went right into my master's program and got my master's from Grand Canyon University. And that was before I retired from the Department of Corrections, where I served for 24 and a half years.
Wow, so your journey took you all types of places.
Yes.
What footprint do you hope to leave on your community?
The footprint that I hope to leave on the community is that we need to be engaged. We need to be involved. Whether it's you know, the neighborhood association, whether, you know, again, as a former state legislator and a school board member, you know, you got to give of yourself so much, okay, and you know, sometimes, you know, it's not the happiest times, but, you know, even today with a lot of the you know, the laws that are trying to be passed right now, you know, again, it's just another reason for me that I would tell somebody is to get involved in your community, you know. Get involved, whether it's in your church, whether it's in helping kids with sports activities, whether it's, you know, actually being involved as an activist, you know, as a community person, and trying to help to change things that need to be changed.
Sometimes the bad things help mold us.
Yes.
And we got to persevere.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, Ray, for joining us today. We appreciate your story. Your story was important. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm honored and privileged to be able to be here with you guys
Thank
today.
you for being a member of Arizona Barrio Stories.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you for viewing us today. This segment was very special. Your story is special too, but we need to hear from you. You can email me at irma.payan@arizonabarriostories.com. I want to hear your story too. Thank you for viewing.
Castillo 602-253-6223.
I'm attorney Richard Castillo. I have been an Arizona trial attorney for over 25 years. If you or your loved one was seriously injured or a death resulted from an automobile, motorcycle, or trucking accident, a pedestrian accident, even from a dog bite, call me at 602-253-6223. You may have the grounds for a personal injury or wrongful death claim if it was caused by another person's negligence, recklessness, or misconduct. Call 602-253-6223. También hablamos español.
Castillo 602-253-6223.
y bienvenidos a Arizona Barrio Stories. Yo soy Román Reyes y ese segment va a ser el arte que nos impulsa. That is the art that inspires us and drives us. First of all, let me show you where we're located at. If you just follow me. This is 1st Street, Washington. And then we have Adams over here. So if you're coming by, just come on through the alley, just drive through. And today we're going to be looking at El Callejón de Alec. Come on. Here we have a depiction of Kukulkan and his sister. Kukulkan is a legend in the Mayan era where he is the feathered serpent for the Mayans. The Aztecs had a Quetzalcoatl, which is the feathered serpent for the Aztecs, but the Mayans had Kukulkan. The legend goes that when he and his sister were born in a cave, he got too big, and so he had to leave the cave and he went into the ground. When he went into the ground, he caused earthquakes and tremors. And so now in the Mayan area, whenever there's earthquakes and tremors, it's Kukulkan telling his sister that he's still viable, he's still alive. And follow me. Continuing here, what is a pueblo without a lowrider? So this kind of depicts the lowrider image that we have, and this is old Chevy. Now if you look on top, we have celebration. This is the good times. This is Dia de los Muertos, where we honor our ancestors, and we have parties at the cemeteries, and we offer things that our ancestors like. So we bring food and things that they like. On the bottom, here you have Selena, and I just love Selena. She was so wonderful. I hope you've seen the movie. This depicts her, and once again, she is part of our culture. As we move along, we come to the legends. This is Cesar Chavez, who formed the Farm Workers Union, and then next to him is Dolores Huerta. You see on the bottom here, "Si se puede," yes we can. She coined that phrase, and we're still using it today. Here we have Silvestre Herrera. He is a local homeboy. He got the Medal of Honor, and he passed away not too long ago. But he was a homeboy, and you see depictions of soldiers and helicopters reminiscent of the Vietnam War and the American Eagle with the American flag. So that's very patriotic. Now, a lot of this work here is a continuation of the decorative aspects of our culture. And then we have an eagle. Now this part here, Carlos Rivas, who was one of our artists, painted this. Now he painted this using spray cans, and a lot of the other art that you see over there was used using brushes, using acrylic paint. We used something like about 30 gallons of paint to do a lot of this work. It probably was a lot more, but that's what we purchased. Okay, if you follow me here, we have the American flag, Arizona, and another flag, which I'm not sure what Carlos meant for that, but anyway, it's right there. Moving along, these images over here were done by Edgar and other people, and Ramon, and they're reminiscent of the Mesoamerica type of art with a contemporary look to it. You can see on the bottom here you have hummingbirds, you have the images of the Mayans. Hope you're enjoying this. Okay, here we have Carlos Santana, smooth man. This was done, once again, a lot of this work is done by several artists, Ramon Aguirre started this, and then Jose Giron finished part of it, and then I did the background. So it's always a collaboration, because once again, some of the artists come in and paint, and you know, they have other responsibilities, and so the work doesn't get done. And so Andres and I come in and kind of finish it up. So a lot of it's collaboration. The American Sabor was a group that came to Alec, and they put together a really nice show that lasted a couple of months, and it featured all of the music legends with a lot of booths that had all their historical aspects and their records and their music, and so it was really a phenomenal experience that we had. And then we have the bottom here, we have Lalo Guerrero. Once again, really popular musician, singer, and once again, everybody likes him. So this is one of the things that when people come by here, we have a lot of people that come and do shoots here. They do fashion shoots. They do a lot of the ASU comes here and they do film shoots, and so this is a really popular place for that. And as you can see, we had one time we had a whole team of basketball players that came in and did a shoot. One of the things that we do also is we bring in by bus a lot of the students from different schools, and they come in and they have a lunch, and then we have a lecture, which we lecture on, for example, our artwork and what the meaning of a lot of the paintings that you see inside. And so they have a really good time, and we have a repeat. They come every year, and so that's something that's really exciting for us that we do. If you continue here, here's on top we have a picture of Vicente Fernandez, and once again, excellent music that you can hear from him. He's on the City of Phoenix, and this is one that I did. And on the bottom here you have the Zoot Suit, and kind of a look at the Phoenix, Adams Street, where we're located at. Once again, this is reminiscent of the Zoot Suits, and if you look into history, the Zoot Suits riots in LA during World War II made a lot of news. As you come down here, this work is by our director, Elizabeth Toledo, and she does a lot of the Llorona. She also does a really nice singing that goes along with it. So she's a wonderful singer, and she's a wonderful artist. And there's a whole long story behind this. If you get a chance, Google all these names, and you'll get the whole story behind them. By the way, this is she uses her daughter as a model. So she has very pretty models. And if you walk over here, now some of this work over here was done by kind of traveling artists. They come in and they heard about what we're doing, and they just wanted to get some paint on the wall. And so they came in and painted some of these things up here. If you go down here, you have the old truck, reminiscent of the lowriders and our culture with our
Castillo 602-253-6223.
I'm attorney Richard Castillo. I have been an Arizona trial attorney for over 25 years. If you or your loved one was seriously injured or a death resulted from an automobile, motorcycle, or trucking accident, a pedestrian accident, even from a dog bite, call me at 602-253-6223. You may have the grounds for a personal injury or wrongful death claim if it was caused by another person's negligence, recklessness, or misconduct. Call 602-253-6223. También hablamos español.
Castillo 602-253-6223.
the alias, but it does have significance. As we move along here, you have on the bottom, you have the Jaguar. The Aztecs had the Jaguar warriors, which were very fierce, and there was a whole ritual to their training and being able to go and capture prisoners for their ceremonies, where they would open up their chest and get out their heart. So it was very interesting. Then we have here some of the look at some of the indigenous work, and there's also legend with the earth and the fish and the water. So that's kind of a little story on that. And finally, on the last here we have this was done by Andres, and it has the folklorico ladies and the vaqueros in the background, and then all of the artists that took place in painting this mural. And I'll just read you the names if you can read them. They are Jose Andres Giron, Roman Reyes, Ramon Aguirre, Edgar Fernandez, Elizabeth Toledo, Alfredo Bilducia, Noreen Ayon, Tavo Barrios, Ángel Díaz, Carlito Espinosa, Ivan Garcia, Luis and Edgar Muñoz, Ray Lugo, Raúl Rodríguez y Catalina Falsetti. Bueno, I hope you enjoyed this little history lesson that we have here. I invite you to come in and learn a little bit more, because we really enjoy it. You know, it took us a long time. The city was good enough to let us use this space, and you know, a lot of work went into it, and so we hope that you enjoy it. And once again, this is Roman Reyes. This is El Arte que te impulsa. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you.